Hoy there, it's Guy Shield. Welcome to a new Football Talks. I am joined by Bill. Say hello, Bill.
Hey, what's going on?
Alright, week 4 is in the books. We got week 5 to look forward to, and let's just jump right into it. First game, the Lions. I am very surprised that they did not put up a better fight than this. I wasn't expecting a blowout, especially since it was on the road, but this looks like on paper a defensive slugfest, but it wasn't. The Lions really only put up 7 points. Bill, name the only bright spot in this whole game.
The only bright spot in this entire game was the Andre Roberts return touchdown, punt return touchdown, where he made a bunch of people miss and gave us some hope. Gave us some hope in the last 2 minutes of the game because obviously the offense gave me no hope that they were going to move the football on a terrible Bears defense. That defense is terrible, and we couldn't move the football. Golden Tate looks out of sorts. He was benched. Uh, the whole offense just looks out of sorts, and it hurts me deeply inside. Uh, the one that one bright spot, and then the onside kick at the end of the game, just it was pitiful to watch.
Yep.
But I will say one thing because this game reminds me of what reminds me of last year, and what was my big complaint last year, that the team was not coming out inspired, that they were lackadaisical, that they should have been motivated by the previous seasons when they got screwed over in the playoffs. They didn't use that as fire, and now they're 1-3 and not using anything else as fire for that. And that all goes back to one person, and that is Jim Caldwell. Jim Caldwell is the reason why the Lions are a 1-3 team and not a 3-1 team. He's too calm of a personality, and he just doesn't inspire the team to play football in the correct way. We need someone of a more Patriots persuasion to come in to Detroit
We get
and
it,
get.
Bill. You want Josh McDaniels.
Yes. I want a Patriot way.
Well, Bill, the best thing I can tell you is that then you better put all your money in the Patriots side of the basket that they win their Super Bowl because Tom Brady will retire and stick it to Roger Goodell one last time, have the last laugh. Then the Patriots staff can just disperse if they want because Belichick might retire with them. And
Very
as history has
possible.
shown, sometimes even the mightiest of nations, kingdoms, you name it, they fall not because they were conquered, but just because the leader that they supported and admired left or died.
Right. I
I
mean,
that's just an example that I had to put in on the test today.
I
So yeah,
mean,
if the leader is gone, people might be only in there just because of the guy in charge more so than the cause itself.
right.
Does that make sense?
I mean, yeah. I mean, overall, Jim Caldwell is a failed leader in multiple different areas. The only reason he went to the Super Bowl and won it or lost it with the Colts is he had a Hall of Fame quarterback in Peyton Manning. And the only reason why
Well, he had a
why
Hall of
he
Fame
won it in
offense, if you
Baltimore.
ask me. That was
Yeah.
a
Uh,
talented offense, and that was long before our defenses were insanely great as they are now.
and the only reason he won it as the offensive coordinator of the Baltimore Ravens is he had a great defense with that team.
But
So, I mean,
2000?
it wasn't. It's that Baltimore San Fran
Oh,
Super
that
Bowl
one.
that he won with.
Okay, I know what
Uh,
you're talking about.
he was the offensive coordinator for that team, and he replaced someone halfway through the season.
Huh.
So, uh, I mean, overall, that's basically what I want to say about the Lions game because that game hurt me deeply. That was pathetic, and that's all I can say about it. It's pathetic, and they're going to be lucky if they're done be a 3-13
All
team
right,
this
then
year.
I think we should just move on to talk about another team, a team that won their game, took care of business. Before we get to the game, though, we should mention something that happened before the game. Big news came out from Houston. J.J. Watt's season is over. He re-aggravated his back. He is now on IR after getting surgery. We will not be seeing him at all. So, Bill, do you agree with me that this pretty much was this eliminated any chance that the Texans could win a Super Bowl this year?
I would say never, but I mean, it really hurts your chances if you lose J.J. Watt and then you lose Jadeveon Clowney, and then you're really in bad shape. I mean, Watt is the heart and soul of that defense, and I mean, I'm of that that I would say never, but I mean, it's it's kind of shaky now.
I would say it was already hard enough to do that because you had to beat those. You had to beat an elite caliber team, an elite squad like the Patriots. Granted, you have two more tries at this because you got to take on the Broncos in a few weeks, which I think it's 3 or 4 weeks from now, and the
Right,
Packers. Now, between
right,
those two, I would put my money more on the Packers solely because the Packers have a weak defense, and believe 4 years ago, back in 2012, the Texans did beat Rodgers in Lambeau with Matt Schaub, no less. That was pretty much the last bit of his prime, granted, but still, it is possible for Houston to beat it. They've done it already, and plus,
right.
unless Jordy Nelson shows more to improvement, he is not the same player. I'm kind of glad people are starting to realize this. He's not the same player after injury. I remember hearing whispers before, like when he got injured, like when he comes back, he might not be the same player given his age and how bad the injury was. But it was like, oh, it's Aaron Rodgers. He'll make him great. He makes every player great. Like, well, can Aaron Rodgers make a broken player who's like can't even run a great player, a dynamic receiver, a dynamic running back, whatever? Can he?
And the other issue with Rodgers is that I don't think he's a dynamic quarterback anymore.
Well, good. If he keeps getting hit, I mean, if he gets hit like the amount of times Andrew Luck does, they can say hell yeah. But at least in the Packers' defense, they've they've done more to protect Rodgers than the Colts to have to protect Andrew Luck. At
That's very
the
true.
the
Very true.
Packers know they know when they have a keeper and they know when to protect it and invest in it. I can't say the
Right.
same about Andrew Luck and the Colts. I mean, to get Andrew Luck after Peyton Manning is a stroke of luck, no pun intended. But now you're fiddling with it. You're blowing it because you've been to put it one way, I have these things. I like to call it the privilege rankings. I know not the check your privilege kind of rankings like Tumblr does, but in terms of sports fandoms, those fandoms that are very cushy. They have a cushy lifestyle. I mean, the Patriots are the obvious example. 4 Super Bowl trophies in the past, what, 10 years? 15
Right.
years?
Yeah.
What a wonderful life a Patriots fan must have. Made the playoffs pretty much all but one time in the span of that run.
Right.
Other teams,
Exactly.
I mean, the obvious ones, the Steelers, have the most Super Bowl trophies ever. They can fill a six pack case with it. You got the Packers, 49ers, and the Cowboys at 5, 49ers at 3, Broncos at 3. See, those are like those very cushy ones. Then you have the pain rankings at the way bottom with the Lions, the Browns, the Bills. Do you
Right.
see what I mean?
Exactly. I mean,
It just
uh,
it. But with the Colts, so to get to my point with the Colts, they have an issue where they went from Peyton Manning, a Hall of Fame quarterback who only won them one trophy, which is kind of surprising. But to be fair, they were in the same conference as Tom Brady. Had they have been in the NFC, I'd like to think they might have made it to the Super Bowl a couple more times. Like they might have won
Right.
one before Drew Brees turned the New Orleans Saints into an amazing franchise, and before Aaron Rodgers shook up the world when he started over Brett Favre. I don't know how
Yep.
many Super Bowls he would have won. I mean, a Manning Brady Super Bowl sounds like a dream, but it
Right.
would never happen. It was never meant to be.
Yeah.
But
Well, Peyton was never going to be in the
but
NFC.
they went from one franchise to another franchise quarterback, and it feels like they've just dropped the marbles on everything else. Like we just need a legendary quarterback, and we're Super Bowl bound. They have
Right.
not
No.
had. Here's the thing: they have not had a 100-yard rushing game since 2012. It's 4 years ago. What happened?
Dang.
Who was the last? What was the last Super Bowl in 2012?
No idea, to
I
be
don't.
honest.
I want to say that was the San Francisco Baltimore Super Bowl.
I mean, yeah, that I think that would be actually the correct Super Bowl.
I want to say that was it.
It,
And that's the one I care for the least, surprisingly, because there were two teams I don't like. But yeah, so that's the last time they even had it, and I believe that was Andrew Luck's second year.
uh, yes, I'm pretty sure that was
So
his
that was
second
when
year.
things clicked and Andrew Luck was lighting up the field. But yeah, that's basically their problem. At least in the Packers' defense, they've done a much better job at keeping Aaron Rodgers safe. I mean, he hasn't had a season-ending injury yet, hasn't he?
Uh,
Like a torn muscle or something that required surgery.
he he's had injuries where he's been out like six
Yeah, but
weeks.
not till the postseason.
Right. Yeah. Nothing like that. Nothing like that.
Well, because like I said, they protect him well. Even if their line isn't the best, it's way better. It's way better than the Colts will ever be. But that's the shame on the
Right.
organization. They're being about as dumb as the 49ers organization. But yeah, anyway. So yes, Watt is out. To say that they're not playoff bound, I say that's stupid. If you honestly mean to tell me that, okay, let's look at the standings right now. The Texans are 3-1, and what is every other AFC South team? 1-3.
1-3.
They have their losses or their wins combined only tie up to the Texans. Whereas in the loss ratio, they have 9 times the amount of losses the Texans. I mean, we can't really scale off of this because we never know when one team could just catch fire. And momentum is a thing in all kinds of sports. I mean, it's a thing in video games, especially multiplayer ones, where a team could just win the team fight or just get the right hit the right time to get on a hot streak and roll over the other team and come back.
Right.
That's a
I
thing.
mean,
Momentum's a factor, whether you want to believe it or not.
oh yeah. I mean,
So
here's the issue. I don't think any team in that division is going to be over 500 at the end of it, besides Houston.
Houston has the best odds because even without Watt, they still have Clowney, they still have Merciless. Those two can demand double coverage, and Clowney,
Yep.
well, to get to the not get into the game just yet, he did get a sack on Mariota, which I wish it was Watt that sacked him because Watt needs to welcome Mariota to the NFL, which I feel like that's never going to happen now. Oh well, but anyway, so in regards to Watt, I really wish Houston did what I said they should have done because I was afraid this was going to happen. This would have been the game to start Watt, if you ask me. You let Watt sit out a couple weeks. I don't care what the doctors say. I know Watt has been pushing them to make him start. The only times the doctors really have more influence on a player is like a concussion because if a concussion gets a player hurt again, the NFL will never hear the end of it. That's why they let the concussion protocol probably the ultimate factor that can dictate a player's movements.
The biggest issue was that it was a back injury, and back injuries are a hazard in the waiting right there. Back injuries are, if you don't heal up and you're not ready for it, you're going to be out for a while. And he pushed it, and he's out for a while now. And I just hope that the team sort of sits him down and lets him rest up, and not
they're making him rest up.
Yeah, not let him rush them to put him on.
Yeah, well, there's no sense of rushing. I mean, the injuries knocked him out for the rest of the year and into next year. So theoretically, if Houston somehow made it to the Super Bowl, they still couldn't start him.
Right.
So yeah, I wish they didn't rush him. This defense, honestly, I think, especially once Hopkins gets signed, they will not have all those great pieces there. There's no way they can keep them all because Hopkins' contract is going to demand a lot. Unless some player decides, hey, I'm going to take a pay cut, and I mean the high-paid ones. That's the other thing. We're not even thinking about Jadeveon Clowney's contract, especially if he becomes the guy while Watt's gone, because then you got to consider him. He's a first-round pick. You mean to tell me you can pay for both him, Hopkins, Osweiler, and Watt? Whether Osweiler was a great quarterback or not is not my question here. My question here is, was signing him good for the long term when you consider the other players you have on this team? Honestly, I would have rather drafted a quarterback, and I'm not just saying that because of how they're looking so far. I mean, Prescott's good, Carson Wentz is good, Paxton Lynch, who had not his first start, but he played his first snaps in the NFL, looked great.
Right.
I would have taken my chances with one of them. And I mean, I love Will Fuller, but I would have rather taken one of them or started Tom Savage over this, just because I would not want to sign a quarterback to a big deal like that, because you had Watt, you have Hopkins, you have Clowney, you have the quarterback. And then you had Lamar Miller now. So the cap's going to go up. But I guarantee you, most, if not all of that cap is going to just basically be Hopkins' contract.
Well, there is a way that you can keep your entire defense, but it means not re-signing DeAndre Hopkins. And maybe that's part of the plan all along, and they keep Will Fuller and keep him as the protege.
I really don't think they'll do that.
That's just a stream of thought. I highly doubt that too, but you never know.
Well, because
Hopkins have happened in the NFL.
Hopkins is on pace to just shatter all of Andre Johnson's records.
Right.
And as things stand now, Andre Johnson is no question the greatest Texan that's ever lived.
Right.
I mean, Watt's gonna probably take that title, but until he has that title actually claimed, we still have to say Andre Johnson out of respect for his greatness. Speaking of which, he was in this game, caught a few passes, but didn't do much as the Titans actually kept things close, which was a surprise. But makes me wonder if Watt were here, what would things have been different? I'm probably going to be asking that a lot in some games. But the thing was, here's the good for Houston. There's some good, there's some bad, there's some ugly. The good. Houston seemed to learn a little bit. Bill O'Brien gave the play calling game on offense new life, as they scored immediately. Problem is, did not have a good mid-game. Missed a field goal kick. Nick Novak, I'm surprised he missed one in a dome, no less. Honestly, if you miss any kicks under 50 yards in a dome, I'm surprised. I'm not trying to say field goal kicks are easy. I know they're hard, but in a dome, if you're playing in a windy area like Chicago, an open field, I can understand it because wind is a factor, a lot of factors. But in a dome, everything is so controlled in your favor. It's like, how can you not make that kick? But whatever. It wasn't. It was ultimately something that didn't cost the Texans a game.
Right.
So, the good they scored quickly. The other good, tight ends were involved since early games. Surprisingly, C.J. Fedorowicz made some good catches, which he also got hurt at another play at some point, but I don't know his injury. So, surprise, surprise, he actually had a purpose. Ryan Griffin got a really good 48-yard pass. Good stuff. I was kind of shocked that they didn't have Steven Anderson do these things, but with Fedorowicz hurt, now I'm pretty confident we're going to see more Steven Anderson. And I definitely want him to be the best rookie tight end in the NFL this year.
Right.
Because he's a pass catcher first. He is a pass catching tight end. That's what they needed. So, I mean, I'll get to Will Fuller later. I want to save the best for last. The bad. The lack of J.J. Watt was clearly noticeable. The offensive line for the Titans is relatively the same, I want to say. It felt the same, but without Watt demanding double team and triple teams, it really made it hard for the other players to expose the Titans. Granted, the Titans were contained for the most part, but that loss was really noticed, and that really worries me for the later games when you play teams with better lines and better overall teams. How will they fare? But granted, this was a good team to start with. It's better to lose Watt right in time for a scrub team like the Titans, where you just got to sweep them under the rug and that's it. Because next week we have the Vikings, and considering how the Vikings are, I don't like those odds.
The Vikings' defense is legit.
Yeah, and that's what I'm afraid of. But anyway, so next, the ugly. Osweiler threw 2 interceptions. He's 2 for 2, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. This guy is a risk taker. I know people call him a bust, or yeah, he's bad. He's a bad deal. I mean, I would agree to an extent, but they're 3-1 so far. So, I mean, there's a saying in sports: "Win cures everything." And
Yep.
that's it. So I would say it doesn't matter, but I'm not simply sweeping it under the rug. I can see these red flags. I can see the red flags in front of me telling me this is a very dangerous quarterback. It's a high risk, high reward style of quarterback. I can't think of any quarterback who's like that. Do you know anyone who would be like that? They have a high
Brett
interception rate. What?
Brett Favre.
Brett Favre? Huh, I never would have guessed.
Brett Favre holds the NFL record for most interceptions thrown in NFL history.
Wow, and he's considered a great.
Yeah, he's had like 400 interceptions or something.
Jesus
some
Christ.
Crazy number.
And they
It's some crazy number. He has the record for most 4 interception games.
damn, that's crazy. I mean, well, Fitzpatrick's knocking on that door. He wants to get into that club. He wants to get in. He wants the Fitzpocalypse to come to New York.
The
But,
Fitzpocalypse.
Yep, that was a saying in New York, Fitzpocalypse.
Yep.
Get in your bunkers. He's throwing interceptions. They're blowing up all of New York City.
Oh jeez.
But anyway, so I really wanted to minimize on those because when you're going up against a Vikings defense next week, you cannot take risks. You cannot.
Nope.
You have to play safe. You have to play smart. You have to know when to throw because the Vikings, as we have seen time and time again, they punish you for making mistakes with either just taking it to the house or letting the offense do the work. So, but we'll talk about the Vikings more in the picks and when we get to the other games. But yeah, so the best part of this game by far, Will Fuller. We're going to talk about Dallas in a minute, and I know Carson Wentz. They had a bye, so you can't say anything about the Eagles that hasn't been said already. But let me ask you this: if those two, or those three, I should say, because 2 Cowboys players are being considered Rookie of the Year. Okay. Let me ask you this: can all 3 of them, can any of those 3 get a punt return and take it to the house? Because Will Fuller made a punt return look easy. I guarantee you, if they see him on the field, not just their coaches, but the players will go up to the punter and say, "Hey, please don't kick it to that guy. I don't think we can stop him." It was like Usain Bolt played the Olympics backwards, and the players, instead of going along the track, were trying to stop him from going to the finish line. and they
Right.
couldn't catch him.
Right.
Well,
I mean, I'll put it this way: if we're talking rookie of the year, I mean, no matter what, it's gonna be especially if Dak or Carson Wentz
yeah,
continue
because
at
guess what
this.
division they're from? The NFC
It's
East.
not only that, they're also quarterbacks, and quarterbacks get all the love in the
I know.
NFL.
I honestly wish they had a quarterback award. Just so that way they can't get the other awards. Give it to position players who deserve it so much more than them.
Right. I mean, the best rookie quarterback. There you go. Goodbye.
No,
Everyone
I
else
mean
gets
just
an
in general, like
award.
offensive player of the year, MVP, just have a quarterback of the year. Just do that instead.
Right.
Give it to
Exactly.
players that deserve it. Um.
Exactly.
Anyway, so yeah, here's how bad the Texans scorched them. So there was that, but there was also a blocked punt. This pissed me off because the refs made a bad call. They said the Texans had 12 men on the field, but the guy who they thought was 12 men, long before they snapped the ball, he was already gone. He was off the field. He was out of bounds, so he was good. So they gave the Titans a mulligan because that was a punt return. That was a blocked punt and was to be taken to the house.
Uh,
And here's the worst part. Because it was a bad call by the refs, O'Brien couldn't even challenge it, even if he wanted to. He would have won,
that's
but they won't let him win because it was the refs' choice to stop it.
Yep. I mean, and that's why referee penalty calls should be reviewable.
Like, I mean, you can't. Even if the player is like 5 yards away, and the next opposing player is 20 yards away, they won't give him the touchdown because where they blow the whistle and he stops, that's where he'll be. You know what? I'll take that over just removing it altogether because I mean, yes, he would have gone to the house. I know they'll say, "Oh, you can't be sure about that," which okay, fine, but if the player kept going and he stopped at that one point, and said, "Okay, fine, I'll stop," then just get the ball there and give it to the other team. So in this case, give it to Houston. Let them have it at the 5 yard line, I guess, so you can give the Titans a chance to not let
Right.
them
I mean,
score.
it's poor officiating, and poor officiating has been the rule this year.
Yeah, there's poor officiating, and the refs don't know what a fucking catch is. You know what? Okay, to determine what a catch is, how about we get retired wide receivers to look at these replays and ask themselves, is this a catch?
Yeah, and if the receiver starts laughing at the referee, then it's obviously a catch. If the receiver goes, "Oh," uh, and does not start laughing at the referee, then it is not a catch. I mean,
Are you
literally, you
saying
can
that?
just
So it's like Groundhog's Day. If the wide receiver sticks his head out and sees his own shadow, it's a catch.
right. I mean, it's pathetic when most of the announcers just make fun of the referees on air.
The worst part is
It's
when they agree
pretty
with them.
pathetic. Yeah. Oh, ay, ay,
Isn't that
ay.
right, Phil Simms and Bob Nance?
CBS. CBS employs some of the worst sports
Well,
announcers.
the worst ones are the ones that do all the you know the primetime games. I found better commentators for those games that nobody cares about,
Like,
and that's
I'll
sad.
I do like Al Michaels and what's his face,
Chris
Chris
Collinsworth,
Collinsworth
I
on
hate them, and you
NBC.
know why? Because they give the NFC East way more love than it deserves.
Well, that's NBC executives as
It's
well.
not just them, but Al and Chris just have always loved the NFC East as long as they've announced stuff. You know, I just
I
can't wait
mean,
for Mike Tirico to take out one of them and put whatever division he likes. I think he likes the NFC North. I want to say he likes to see Baltimore, Pittsburgh.
the the you know why they picked the NFC East is because the big television markets of New York and Dallas. That's why they pick those. It's
Yep,
not because the teams are good. It's the market
it
size
is, and that's
and the
what I hate.
market
It's a
share.
marketing contest. But look, whenever there's a divisional game, I mean, granted, the first one they have that's a divisional game matchup, the Cowboys and the Eagles, at least so far, if things scale properly, it might be a great game. The Eagles and the Cowboys could be a great game, assuming they keep similar records and they don't just outright lose every game.
Right.
Until that point.
They did have Green Bay, Minnesota in Minnesota as well earlier this season.
But to be fair, remember, they set these schedules before the injuries came into play, and you can't foreshadow that.
Oh yeah.
You can't prepare for that. You're assuming that everything goes healthy from here on out. So, I mean, if I could replace it, I would have picked the Cardinals-Panthers rematch, but they're both looking like jokes right now. Which it makes me sad to say. I had such high hopes for the Cardinals. Going off this list, the one game I think I would take more than this one. If I have to be honest, I would take Packers at Falcons because the Falcons playing real good so far. But you know what happened last time they were playing great?
They fell apart.
Let's just say their wings got clipped at the worst time possible. But anyway, so yeah, Houston did good, but they'd let the Titans hang for a bit too long.
Exactly.
So that's a little troublesome, but we'll worry about that later. Next game, okay. Well, normally this is where I would be talking about the Patriots, so let's just get that out of the way. They got shut out, and Jake Brisket, man, Jake Brisket. It's almost like hubris in a way that the Patriots shut out a team, and then they get shut out in the same at home. It was Rex Ryan's wet dream come true. He got to see Bill Belichick mad. He got to see everything go in his way possible. That was a perfect game for Rex Ryan.
Right.
And I will say this: do you think the Patriots are worried? Hell no. They're getting Tom Brady back. You're getting the greatest quarterback ever. And you're telling me that they should be afraid? They went 3-1 with him gone. I would settle for that. I think a lot of teams would settle for that. Oh, my star quarterback's out for the first 4 games, and I'm going to go 3-1. Hell yeah, I'll take that. Not only does he get basically free rest, so he can keep going on a little longer, but when you come back, he's gonna be mad. He's gonna want to make a statement. Which, poor Browns. The Browns have to be the sacrifice. They are the lamb to be sacrificed to the gods.
Exactly. Exactly.
But anyway, so the Patriots 3-1. Jake Brisket no good. I wonder if it's his injury with his thumb had something to do with it, but I don't know. I don't care. Honestly, it's fine because so far I think I'll take Jimmy Garoppolo over him. But anyway, Tom Brady will come back. I think it'll be fine because at least for the first week, because yeah, you got the Browns, and if you're afraid of the Browns, your team needs to really check their heads, see if they have a concussion. Like, at this point, I'm starting to think maybe the 49ers could shut out the Browns.
I mean, the Browns are not a good team.
A very injury-riddled team because every week it seems they lose a player with just a shred of talent.
That 0-16 prediction is looking very, very real now.
Oh, God, Bill, I know you want that to happen. But anyway, the thing I want to mention, Rex Ryan gloating from winning this. Okay, he wants to get his win, I guess fine. Enjoy your 5 minutes of happiness. But I just don't want to hear him go on about how, oh yeah, I beat Bill Belichick. I shut out Bill Belichick. I'm so great. Yes, you shut out a Patriots team that didn't have their star quarterback. Okay, that's like saying, hey guys, I beat the Packers, but they didn't have Aaron Rodgers. Is our team for real or what? We're going to the Super Bowl. Get out of here. Get out of here. Stop lying to yourself.
All Rex did was give Tom Brady some bulletin board material.
Not just that. Yo, forget about Brady. He should not be afraid of Brady. He should be afraid of Belichick because there's this other thing he said to piss off Belichick. I had from my sources inside the Patriots building, I knew Jacoby Brissett was going to start. No, it's called you had common sense. It was very likely he was going to start. But he did that to taunt Bill Belichick. So not only did you're gloating that you beat a Brady-less Patriots, but you're also gloating on Bill Belichick's turf. I mean, granted, next time you're going to face him at your place, but I guarantee you've done violated the biggest rule. You don't humiliate the Patriots and live to tell about it.
They're done put 60 on them. It's going to happen.
They're going to humiliate them in the most painful way. So if you're a Bills fan, just get those hats ready. Just start preparing to evict Rex Ryan, because Rex Ryan is especially. He's may not gloat now, but when it's this next game and it's game week and they're talking about asking him questions about the page, like, oh yeah, remember how I shut them out? You see, I think we can win this. I know we can win this. Like, we're going to do it again. You're going to start saying bold exclamations like that. Good luck with that, boy. I can only say good luck and have fun. Because the Patriots are not going to take that lying down. Especially when Tom Brady's back. Because he has enough players on his people on his shit list to go after, with Roger Goodell as the cream of the crop. But now Rex Ryan's just asking himself to be put higher on that priority list. Anyway, let's move on. So, this one, in return, we're going to put what I thought was the best game of Week 4. And to be honest, this is the team I find the most enjoyable to watch. I see their highlights, and they're looking to be an amazing team. Are they a Super Bowl team? I don't think so. But are they a team that is on the cusp of being a juggernaut team that's up there with Seattle and Green Bay? Yes. I'm talking Oakland Raiders at Baltimore Ravens. And as you know, Baltimore's always been a for-real team. Had that one-off year because they lost any player with talent. I know, you see, this is becoming a trend. Every year or so, a couple teams lose every player they have that's valuable.
Right.
Baltimore's 3-0 at the time, and the Raiders coming in as the underdogs. What do the Raiders do? They play Baltimore. They play it close. They play them rough, and it was a great game. Like, the only bad thing is this. I heard that 2 Raiders fans from New York just beat the shit out of a Baltimore fan. Like, I don't know if he's still. Last I checked yesterday, he was still unconscious. They beat this guy up, and he got those 2 got first-degree assault charges.
Good.
I say good to that, but it's like, I mean, I know these are Raiders fans, but I would not think they'd be that cruel. I mean, this was during the game, not when the Raiders had already won, I believe. It's oh god, you're bringing shame to the Raiders just as they're coming back. Which, I don't like Baltimore, but I still wouldn't wish that on any fan, really. The only thing I would wish on them is for their team to get destroyed. That's the best I'll ask for. Or that's the most I'll ask for. But, anyway, so, aside from that other news, the Raiders, Bill, Michael Crabtree, he should be glad he left. He should be glad John Harbaugh left, because that was the red flag for every good San Francisco player when he left. It's like, this team is not worth playing for anymore. You remember how I mentioned earlier that some kingdoms and shit have only existed because their leaders were there, because they existed to serve the leader more so than the cause itself. That's what John Harbaugh is. He was a coach to play for, a coach to respect, and when he left, the player said, "You know what? If he's leaving, I'm leaving too. I'm retiring. I'm going to another team." Crabtree, who looked like he might not have a chance in Oakland, had 3 touchdowns. I don't know if that's a career high for him, but that's damn well one of his best games as a Raider, if not the best, hands down.
Oh, yeah.
And that's because Amari Cooper hasn't truly emerged as the number 1 guy. This is a good guy to have as your number 1 until your actual number 1 steps up, makes the leap, and becomes a high-quality wide receiver, and who's still making great catches, mind you. Amari Cooper can reach up. What?
Really, it's his route running that he needs to work on.
Yeah, but other than that, he can make the catches. He can make some Hopkins-level catches in terms of jumping up and getting it.
Oh, yeah.
He's got the arms and the hands to do it. So, there's not just that. They have their other running back come out of nowhere. I think his name is DeAndre Washington. His first name's DeAndre,
like that.
ironically.
Like
so, they've got good. They have a lot of power on offense. On defense, they still have to work on it. It's more so their secondary. However, they did start their 2 rookies that they had in the secondary, like their first round pick, Carl Joseph, played good, played solid. Which I'm like, why didn't you start this guy sooner? But better soon, better now than never, or better. Whatever the phrase I'm thinking of? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
Better late than never.
Right.
Don't be like the Vikings. It's like we're just going to bench our rookies for the whole year unless all of our players are on injured reserve. So,
Right.
but aside from that, I don't know if you know this, Bill, but Derek Carr is the least sacked quarterback in the league right now.
Right, and he's got a quick release of that football. He's got a really quick, short, compact release.
Now, I just want to, so far, I mean, maybe I don't want to jinx it for him, but I just want to say, all that hype around Blake Bortles, around Marcus Mariota, and granted, Jameis Winston, which I still think he can play great, it's just his team needs work. I think the line needs work. They're missing Doug Martin, and their defense needs a lot of work. But,
and they fired their head coach stupidly.
And now they're going to do it again at this rate. But I still think Jameis Winston is a better quarterback than Marcus Mariota. But yet him too, especially. Oh my God, the Titans were so hyped up. Their only good thing that they have, the Titans only have the running game as their good part. But you can't win with that thing alone. That can't carry you into the postseason, and it won't win you all your postseason games.
Right.
But the Raiders, I can see going to the playoffs and beating a team they shouldn't, because they've stolen games, Bill. They stole this one from the Ravens, and then they stole one from the Saints, who stole it from them.
Right.
They've just taken games where they could have lost, any other team should have lost. Unless it's a team like the Packers, who can come back at any moment of the game, but they did it. But all that hype around those young quarterbacks, I won't say Teddy Bridgewater because injury. That's something that you don't want to happen to any player. But
Right.
man, I feel so proud because so far my bet that at least for Derek Carr going to the Pro Bowl, it's looking good. It's looking good. I don't think this team will be like a 12-4 team. I'm thinking at best 10-6. But I'll take that. I will take that as a Raiders fan.
Oh yeah.
So yeah,
he's a legit top 10 quarterback.
it's not just that the line is good. They have depth on their offensive line. They're no Cowboys offensive line, which I need to talk about the line for the Cowboys because I've got a red flag for that one. But I like this Raiders offense as a whole. It's clicking, it's good. They just need a good enough defense, and bam, I can say Super Bowl contender. Charles Woodson, I wish you stayed. I mean, he's too old. He was too old. Unlike Calvin Johnson, he was just too old. But he could use another ring with the Raiders. But so far, Raiders fans, enjoy this. This is great. You're beating top dog teams. So, sooner, and that's because their next 2 games, Bill, are home games. They have, and they're divisional, the Chiefs and the Chargers. First the Chargers, I believe. I like that because you get a Chargers team who is just exposed entirely, and then you have a Chiefs team, which I'm disappointed in. I thought they would be my AFC title game team, and it looks like it's not happening. Granted,
defense is bad.
Last time this happened, they had a really bad start, and then they won every game afterwards until they lost to the Patriots. So, I couldn't say they're out, but it's just not looking good. Right. So, yeah. Enough with the Raiders now. I like them. They are the best team for me to watch, if you ask me. But here's another team that's starting to click on offense. Defense, I still say needs a lot of work because they let the 49ers get ahead of them. The Dallas Cowboys, let me get the elephant out of the room that nobody's talking about. La'el Collins is on injured reserve. That's that guy, that elite, first round pick worthy, offensive tackle, with the not the false charges, but the connection with the murder. That guy,
right?
Yeah, he's out for the year. Well, not out for the year. He's on the IR boomerang. Like, he'll come back after 8 weeks, at best, if he's lucky,
Right.
with the foot injury. He had to get surgery on his toe, so he's going to be out for 2 months. Or for the whole
Damn.
year. So, I know people want to say the offensive line is like unstoppable, but Bill, I know you mentioned this last year, but it didn't turn out to be the case because the Cowboys team in general was just trash, and an offensive line can't save a garbage team for its life.
Right.
But here's where I'm starting to see you had problems because back then you had other players playing besides La'el Collins. Now La'el Collins is a starter, and those other players that he was playing behind are getting older.
Yep.
So the depth is now being tested for the Cowboys, and it makes you wonder: are they going to handle themselves well when they play against better teams? Because this is the point. I mean, the Cowboys 3-1 in a really good spot. It's a nice spot because the only team that's in your division that's challenging you is the Eagles, which you're going to be playing them after a bye. So you have 2 rough games in a game that's possibly winnable. You won 3 games out of 4. Good position considering no Romo and now no Dez. We got to mention no Dez.
Right.
It's good because it seems now the best targets for Dak are pretty much Cole Beasley and Jason Witten.
Oh yeah. They're going to be heavily targeted.
Which if
Uh.
what Bill?
No. Go ahead.
Ezekiel Elliott is apparently on pace for 1,600 yards. I find that hard to believe, though, because this kid is no Todd Gurley, if you ask me. He's got another 100-yard game. I will say, but I have to be fair. I know I sound like I'm against everything Dallas is doing. Like, I know one person who's a hardcore Dallas fan, and I just demotivate him every time I do. I'm just trying to say, guys, don't get sucked up into the hype train. Until they beat a top dog team, do not tell me that they're going to the Super Bowl, they're going to the playoffs. Well, going to the playoffs is possible because this division is still garbage until proven otherwise.
Right.
But
it is.
I can say you're not going to a title game, and you are most certainly not going to a Super Bowl. But if you want me to start believing that, beat a team that you have on this next set of weeks. You have, in the next 2 weeks, the Bengals and the Packers. The Bengals record is bad, but granted, here's the thing that people don't realize. Well, the Bengals have been in positions to win some of the other games. They could have won. I think they could have beat the Steelers. And
Oh yeah.
they're lucky that they didn't lose to the Jets, which is that's a fair one, I'll admit to, but ay.
I mean,
What, Bill?
here's the other issue, and here's the other elephant in the room that no one's gonna talk about until it actually happens, is Tony Romo should not be the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys after he gets back. He should not be the quarterback. And there's simple fact is he should not be the quarterback. Dak Prescott right now is not an injury prone liability compared to Tony Romo. You give Dak the entire season. Tony proved his worth, and I don't think he should play for the Dallas Cowboys anymore.
You think so? They're going to do the same thing the Ravens did before they cut him with Justin Forsett. They're going to let him play out of respect for him, see what he does, but your old theory, Bill, I believe a lot more than this one. That they will keep Romo for the rest of the year and see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, they should keep him for the rest of the year, but I don't see why you would want to put Tony Romo out there to not only cool down a hot quarterback,
Well,
to
here's the
maybe
thing.
get your
If they
current money.
lose to both the Bengals and the Packers, and remember after that's the bye, then you're home to the Eagles on Sunday Night Football. It would be a total Jerry Jones move to start Romo on a game like that. And he
Right.
would not resist that.
Right. Nope.
Because not only is
I mean,
look, the Cowboys are facing a struggle, lost 2 games in a row, Now they're home to a division opponent who is currently undefeated, or maybe who knows, maybe they lost the game, but they're still, top of the division. You have Romo coming back. You have a chance to even things out and try to get an edge over the Eagles early. Does it not scream perfect narrative to start Romo?
Oh yeah, it screams perfect narrative. I just feel that Dallas shouldn't do it because one hit and Tony Romo's going down, and he's not going to be coming back.
Yep.
So I would rather take the commodity that I know than the unknown commodity that is Tony Romo.
Yep. Because okay, Bill, like I said, if people want to declare the Cowboys the Super Bowl team juggernaut that the people have been wanting for years now, beat a couple of these following teams, and I'll believe you: the Bengals, the Packers, the Steelers, the Ravens, and the Vikings. You have 5 of those. If you could beat at least 2 of them, I might start believing you.
That's not going to happen.
That isn't going to happen. At best, out of all these teams, I think you can beat the Bengals most likely because the Bengals are just on offense are just clinging to AJ Green. However, what makes it hard is that as we've seen, the Cowboys cornerback group is utter trash.
I mean, it's a difficult call, really.
It is a difficult call, but out of all those teams, I think they could beat the Bengals. You got the Packers over there. Good luck with that. I mean, the refs are against you there. I mean, the catch.
Right.
You go at Pittsburgh, and at Pittsburgh is about, to me, at Pittsburgh is about as dangerous as at Houston, or at Seattle. It's not. It's a very hostile place. Whether the stands are filled or not, it just feels like a place you don't want to play in. And the Vikings, which is also looking like not only a place where you don't want to play in, but you just don't want to play the Vikings defense. Who, if any of these teams are going to expose Dallas's offense, it's the Vikings defense.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Unless injuries start happening to key players on the Vikings defense, they are going to just murder any high caliber offense. They're going to cancel it out.
Yep.
So, good luck with that. That's the best I can say to Cowboys fans. Just remember, if you could beat those teams, if you could beat some, I'm not saying all. You don't have to beat all, just a couple of them. I will start believing you in some regard. Not entirely, because like I said, the thing that holds this team back from being a Super Bowl contender is the defense. Granted, you got a couple players back, and you're going to get more players back by about the mid-November, just before around Thanksgiving time. That's when you're going to start getting all your players back. But I still don't know if they'll be good enough to bring the defense to a average to above average tier. That's just me. I just have so much doubts about this defense, especially the cornerback group. What, Bill?
Oh yeah, I definitely agree.
All right, so yeah. Other than that, I'm surprised we didn't mention anything about this game. But Cowboys for once had to play from behind, and Prescott did well. I think that's worth praising because now he's been in both situations where you're ahead and where you're behind. So good for him. But like I said, he has not played any true teams until now. These next 2 games are Prescott's true tests. How will he fare against 2 elite teams who have been playoff teams for years?
Right.
Should be interesting. Anyway, so what, Bill?
I said very much so.
Yeah. So, anyway, before we get to the picks, how about the rest of these games? How did you feel about some of them? Because there's one game I really want to talk about. Well,
to be honest, I didn't really watch any of them, so we can just skip to that.
Well, Pittsburgh, there's one I wanted to mention. Pittsburgh, as I said earlier, you do not want to play there because the Chiefs, who I had hopes would just surprise them and not shut down Antonio Brown, but just put pressure on Pittsburgh. But it's clear that the Chiefs are just missing too many key pieces on defense because our Big Ben just made that defense look like they made them look like the Cowboys defense, and honestly, that score is what I'm expecting when the Pittsburgh Steelers play the Dallas Cowboys in a few weeks.
Ooh.
That's not good. That's not a shit on Dallas's offense. It's not that they can't hang, but like I said, playing against Pittsburgh at their place is just not fun. Even if it isn't loud, even if the crowd ain't full, it's just hard to play. The pressure is on. But the other one, this game, oh no, Bill, there is another. That one I got right. The Falcons beat the Panthers. The Falcons, man. The Falcons are playing good. I would like to see them. Nothing against the Panthers, but I'm kind of tired of them winning the division 2 or 3 times in a row now.
Right.
So it would be nice to see the Falcons and Matt Ryan, because Julio Jones, that was the first time in the Super Bowl era a quarterback threw 500 yards and a wide receiver got 300 of those yards.
Right. And that was
Julio
crazy.
Jones just put the clown suits on the entire Atlanta secondary. So I guess you could say clown sightings in Atlanta because Carolina decided to act like a clown car on their secondary front. And Josh Norman was just sipping his tea. I'm not joking. He literally said that. I'm just going to be sipping some tea.
Oh, geez.
So I guess the question was it a wise decision to cut Josh Norman? So far, I would say no. I would think he should have been there. What, Bill?
I would also say no.
I don't think it was in their best interest so far. I mean, they could be right, but as things stand now, that 1-3 record. I'm not saying he would have made it 2-2, but can never be too certain.
Right.
But yes. That one, oh boy, that one looked very fun for Atlanta fans to watch. Because that's what they want to see. They want to see high-octane offense. Their defense is still a problem, but at least their secondary, unlike the Panthers ones, can put up more turnovers. Their secondary is a turnover-based style.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, the one game that I wanted to talk about. Vikings, Giants. I thought it would be fun. I wish it were closer. But still, I got something to enjoy. So, Josh, it may not have been a Josh Norman versus Odell Beckham, but I will tell you a few things that can stop Odell Beckham. Josh Norman, the field goal kicker net, and the Minnesota Vikings defense. They did not shut him down entirely. He only got 24 yards. He was upset. He was angry. He was trying to pick fights with the Minnesota secondary. I don't think he got ejected. He nearly did. He definitely drew some flags. And he's like, oh man, the world's all against me. Oh boy, kid. You let all this go to your head. You let the fame go to your head. Was the fame not well deserved? I don't think it was. I mean, that was a great catch he made. He's made a couple great catches, but hey, like I said, other wide receivers have been doing that, and they're just not getting the same acknowledgement because A, they're not playing for a New York team, and 2, they're not playing on a primetime game all the time. Want an example? I mean, of course, I gave you the obvious Hopkins, and of course, you're never better. Nobody until proven otherwise is better than Antonio Brown right now. Not even Julio Jones, though Julio Jones is definitely making a case for him right now for best receiver this year. But it makes me happy. This guy is like, oh, he's so great, guys. Odell Beckham is the greatest wide receiver ever. Bill, I don't think I need to ask for your agreement, but he is no Jerry Rice, and he is especially no Megatron.
No.
He has no Megatron. At least Megatron, he can get angry, but he does not throw fits on the field at the level of Odell Beckham. I mean, here's the crazy thing. I can't tell who's worse, Dez Bryant or him. Because Dez just gets mad if the ball doesn't go his way. But if the team wins, he might not be so angry. But Odell Beckham is just because he's not used to playing top corners. Because remember, you're playing in the NFC East, and these past 2 years you've been playing scrub teams. Now you're starting to face the higher tier defenses. That's because you haven't ran into other teams like, say, the Cardinals with Patrick Peterson, Seattle with Richard Sherman. Because when the Seahawks played the Giants last time, Odell Beckham was still out with an injury.
Right.
So yeah, you haven't run into those guys, and I guarantee you. Oh, the shit talking when Seattle plays New York one day. Oh, Richard Sherman, I hope. I don't usually root for you, but I hope you just shut him down. But anyway.
Right.
Anyway, I think it's time we move on to the picks.
Yep.
All right, Bill, start us off.
Here we go. The Arizona Cardinals at the San Francisco 49ers.
I really was considering changing my pick, but I got to stick with Bruce Arians. I believe in this guy. This guy was Coach of the Year a couple years ago for a reason. Good coach, and I still think this is an elite team. It just needs help, and even without Carson Palmer, I think they'll just find a way. This team could have been 2-2 if they just got the field goal.
Yep. I also agree. I've got the Cardinals beating the 49ers. The Cardinals need this game, and they will get it. All right. The Sunday games. The first one up. The New England Patriots at the Cleveland Browns.
Well. Tom Brady's back. Josh Gordon ain't coming back, and I'm pretty sure Cleveland's going to cut him because that guy won't stay off the drugs. So the Patriots are going to probably shut out the Browns. They're going to shut out another team, and it's going to probably be, I want to say, 43-0, and Tom Brady will get to rest.
Patriots are going to crush the Browns. I got the Patriots winning easily. Next up, the Philadelphia Eagles at the Detroit Lions.
Bill, I know you're picking against them, but I don't care. I'm sticking with this one. I feel the Eagles are due for an upset. Call me crazy. I'm going for the Detroit Lions. Somehow, someway, Jim Bob Cooter's going to go to the Philly defense, and they're going to carry him off the field in front of Jim Schwartz.
And I don't like Jim Schwartz.
Come on, Bill. You got to stick with it one more time.
I hate it, but I've got to pick the Lions. I'm going to give them one last shot before I start picking against them all the time.
Well, Bill, just know if they lose and it's because of a ref, you cannot fault the Lions for it.
Right.
Because I get this strange feeling that this is going to be the game you hate the most because you got Jim Schwartz, but you know what ref I expect to show up here.
I don't want to even
Morelli.
think about it. I don't want to think about it.
And here's another thing. Just to shrill up more views, when the Lions play the Cowboys, I guarantee you Morelli will be in that game.
Please. No.
Next game.
Next up, the Chicago Bears at the Indianapolis Colts.
I have the Colts. They're going to rebound. Chuck Pagano keeps his job for now. I have the Colts just curb stomping Chicago.
I have the Colts throwing for 500 yards on that Bears defense. Colts easily. Next up, the Tennessee Titans at the Miami Dolphins.
The Titans. The Titans will falter to the Dolphins. The Dolphins also in desperation mode. They don't want to get a load of malarkey. The Titans already have all that malarkey. I have the Dolphins just, I wouldn't say narrowly beating out the Titans, but they're going to beat them within a one-score range.
Right. I also have the Dolphins beating the Titans. I just don't see how.
The Dominican Sue is going to
Titans
injure Marcus Mariota. Because Bill, this Dolphins team has just injured every good player that they can get their hands on. They hurt Russell Wilson. They hurt Jimmy Garoppolo. They're just going to do it again. And remember, it was the Dolphins that pretty much made Mariota useless last year. Wouldn't surprise me if they do it again.
All right, so here we go. The Washington football team at the Baltimore Ravens.
Oh, this one's clear as day. Baltimore, they are upset. They're going to destroy the Washington football team.
I also got Baltimore. It's too easy to see.
Steve Smith, by the way, still going at it. And he's, 39? What an incredible player.
Something like that. Next up, the Houston Texans at the Minnesota Vikings.
I'm gonna pick against Houston. I think the Vikings defense is for real. Had this have J.J. Watt, I would have picked the Texans, but this is where a game you really could have used them because this would have been a 9-6 type of game.
Right. I also got the Vikings defense picking off Brock Osweiler a few times. I got the Vikings.
I will say, Bill, wouldn't there's Texans always have that one game where they beat a team that nobody expected them to. Last year was the Bengals. Could be this game.
Right. All right. So, next up, the New York Jets at the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Fitzpocalypse continues as the Steelers put up another 30-plus points on the Jets' great defense. It's just poor times for the Jets, man.
I've got Steelers easily on the Jets. Fitzpatrick is horrible this year. Next up, the Atlanta Falcons at the Denver Broncos.
Oh boy, okay. If this had been at Atlanta, I would have picked Atlanta, but Denver at home is too good. I don't even know if Paxton Lynch or Trevor Siemian is started. Personally, I'd start Siemian just because he's not doing anything wrong.
Right. I've got the Broncos as well. The Falcons are gonna run into a good defense, and this is the defense that's really good.
It makes me angry that they're undefeated. They really shouldn't be, if you ask me.
Right.
I hate Broncos fans.
Next up, the Cincinnati Bengals at the Dallas Cowboys.
I have the Bengals taking this one. I'm thinking 30-20. Good game otherwise.
I also have the Cincinnati Bengals defeating the Cowboys. Andy Dalton's I have a really good game.
AJ Green's going to torch the Dallas secondary.
Next up, the Buffalo Bills at the Los Angeles Rams.
I'm taking the Rams, Bill. I know people want to take Buffalo, but this is where Buffalo. It's whenever Rex Ryan is at his happiest and at his most gloatful side that they just tumble because Rex Ryan is just always asking Nemesis, the goddess of revenge, to always enact hubris on him and make him pay for his sins. And this is the perfect way to do it. You'll lose to Jeff Fisher. You're polar opposite. Great defensive mind, but cannot get above the 9-7-7-9 mark.
I got also the Los Angeles Rams.
Let's go Case Keenum.
Yeah, Case Keenum's I go 4-1 this year?
That's crazy. I love it.
Next up, the San Diego Chargers at the Oakland Raiders.
Okay, Oakland, time to just put yourself back on the map. Make a case to stay, because if the Oakland Raiders just make it into the playoffs, I feel like 80% certain that they're going to get that deal for a new stadium through, which is in the works. They actually have a plan to stay in Oakland now. So, look out, Chargers. It might be you on the chopping block.
I also have the Oakland Raiders easily crushing the San Diego Chargers.
They're the California Chargers now.
The 8:30 game, the New York Giants at the Green Bay Packers.
I wish this was at New York because it would have been a better game, but now it's just a one-sided affair. The Packers, fresh off a bye, are going to put 50 points to the Giants' 30. And, by the way, the Giants are only scoring 2 touchdowns at garbage time.
Ooh. I also have Green Bay. I think this is a bounce-back game for Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, yeah.
And then, the Monday night game, the
Tennessee Buccaneers.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Carolina Panthers.
One thing to note, this game might not even happen because of that hurricane. If it gets too close to Carolina. So stay tuned, this game might move somewhere else. But I still have Carolina regardless. They need to come back, and this is the game to bounce from.
I also have Carolina as winners of that game.
Alright, Bill, the Thursday game in case we're not around.
Yep, hold on, it's loading up. Okay, it is the Denver Broncos at the San Diego Chargers.
Oh, woe is me. For poor San Diego fans, Broncos are going to shut you out in your own stadium.
And I also have the Broncos winning pretty easily against San
It
Diego.
aggravates me that they're 6-0 and I said they wouldn't even make the playoffs. It just hurts.
Right?
All right, then. I think that'll do it for this week. Have you anything left to say, Bill?
Nope.
All right, then. We'll see you guys for week 6.